Welcome to the Think Conversation series, which explores issues shaping South Africa. I'm Lucky Mathebula from the Think Foundation. The Think Conversations on Business TV unearths voices the nation needs to hear. We are still exploring the competitive nations leadership axioms. The first one is prosperous nations, companies, and individuals share a common trait. They have invested in competence, skills, knowledge, and attributes, leadership, and long-term thinking. The nations that make good decisions define what they will be tomorrow. What nations decide and fail to implement will haunt their future. And South Africa has launched a process to review local government system it has established in the last 20 years. We are one of the countries that has a chapter in the Constitution dedicated to local government. Joining me in today's conversation on this subject is Thabo Mokwena, the second CEO of South African Local Government Association, SALGA, to take us in memory lane about why we are here. He is a business leader, a father, a brother, and a trailblazer. I guess I should say, Eitatibos.
Hi, Prof.
Let me start with the leadership axioms and pick up one. When you set up this local government system, what was your long-term horizon and why? And in the same time, try to answer what were the assumptions you made which might no longer be there, and that is why maybe we are reviewing.
Look, Prof, I think the vision was clear and straightforward. We were emerging from the apartheid era. We needed a system that should be inclusive, that is developmental, that would be able to, uplift generations and generations out of unemployment, poverty, and all sorts of economic ills that we experienced in an apartheid. So that was the vision, to say, let us set up something that is long-lasting, and then how we therefore captured and structured it. Hence, we're speaking of a developmental local government. So we brought in the developmental local government, but the developmental local government was a partnership between the community, civil society, the political structures, and the administration. So if we bring those three together, we will be able to structure a system that is long-lasting, but more importantly, that was developmental. And fortunately, because we were late in the game as compared to other westerns and eastern municipalities. So we had the fortune of having to learn from the best and then also learn the bad things. So we did a proper study tours, benchmarkings, and then we were able to craft a system that we thought that the architecture of this will be able to put the country on a pedestal, on a developmental pedestal that is unreversible. That was the thought process. That is what happened in the lead up to the white paper.
But you're saying this was a developmental local government. But my question
still is, Prof.
Yeah, but my question is, does a country declare that it is a developmental state, or does the outcome of what its policies and implementation tradition define what it should be called? Because, it's one thing to say I'm a developmental local government and you don't become one. But it's another to become something and at the end we define you. What do you think about
Well, Prof, I think that we spoke of developmental local government in the 90s. Before the national government also adopted the notion of a developmental state. But it was important that we project a particular vision. What we aimed to achieve was a developmental local government state. However, history and when you do the reading of, like, the Asian tigers that were subsequently termed developmental state, it was on hindsight. They never said themselves that we're a developmental state and this is. They embarked on a particular developmental program, and decades down the line, when the scholars, when the historians look back, they said, wow, this is what the notion of developmental state meant. And then unfortunately, South Africa chose to anoint itself or, proclaim that we are a developmental state, and then do what? Sit back. So you have those type of dynamics. Elsewhere, people behaved, acted, and then implemented the architecture of a developmental state. We anointed ourselves as a developmental state, and then we failed in the execution of the type of a vision that would, make us a developmental state.
Okay. Now, there is this leadership axiom that we use in the Think conversation. We say what nations decide and fail to implement will haunt their future. We say that. Are we in any way haunted by what you guys in the earlier times, I mean, the first CEO was Schutz, and may his soul rest in peace, and you took over from him as the CEO of Salga, so you are the longest person we can tap on your institutional memory. Are there things that are haunting us that you decided and we did not implement, and what are those, if you share a few aspects?
So yeah, I mean, that's a very tricky and a bit of a complex subject. But the trilemma of local government, as I look at it today, is that there was this grand vision which required a very solid, robust leadership and capable execution machinery. So in that particular trilemma, you have a vision that you can't fault. Did we have the necessary leadership? That's the one part that's haunting us. Did we have the appropriate execution capabilities? I think that's another thing that is haunting us. So on the issue of leadership, if you will remember, Prof, that when we launched the system officially in 2000, because in the 90s, mid to late 90s, it was crafting of the white paper, writing the policies, and preparing the legislation, your Systems Act, Structures Act, and your Finance Management Act. So finally, we launched the system in 2000, and that's when we introduced the executive mayors, the speakers of municipalities, and that type. But Salga made a call to say, for the kind of leaders that you require to run the city of Joburg, to run the city of eThekwini, city of Cape Town, it was not what was in the system at the time. We needed a different caliber that could come in and take over this. And remember, at the time we had benchmarked these metros with the likes of the City of London, the City of New York. We've met those mayors by then, Mayor Giuliani, the mayor that we spoke to in Paris, it was Jacques Chirac. So we felt that we needed the caliber that could take these things forward. I think somewhere there were gaps. If you ask me, do we have the right leadership at local government that can take a developmental local government forward? I don't know. I think there are challenges. Do we have the executive capabilities?
Yeah, is the issue leadership in politics or executive management?
It's both.
We have about a minute or two, then we take a break. Yeah.
It's both. I think it's both. Because remember, executive mayors, they've got executive powers. More powers than the city manager. So it's both.
Was it correct to do that, by the way? In hindsight, I'm not saying blame, but in hindsight, to allow politicians who just come with an X at the vote to have powers more than people that went to school to study how to run the system. Was it a correct decision?
The notion of local government, it's a government for the people, by the people. If the people of Soshanguve have chosen you as their leader to lead them with executive powers, it is the decision of the people. So it was based on that architecture that it is a government of the people, by the people. So it was a correct decision. However, the powers of the executives, of the city managers, municipal managers, are also entrenched in law. They are protected in law.
Just hold on there. We will be back with more on the Thing Conversations.